stable for you?
Well, the DoorDash I can start immediately, and I can do that anywhere up to full time. It's basically as often as I want to.
Okay, I don't have any additional questions at this particular moment. I'm going to pass it on to my colleague, panel member Turner.
Okay.
So if your license is suspended?
Yes. Yeah, you can do it with. You don't have to be the driver of the car. You can actually do it on a bicycle, if need be.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would have somebody else driving me. I plan to get my license reinstated when I get out of here as well.
Okay. Well, don't drive until it is, because you already have had 3 arrests for driving on a suspended license and without insurance.
Right.
And you got to play by the rules.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So where is your brother living now?
I honestly, I don't know. He's homeless. My mom hasn't been able to find him for quite a while.
So is your father in the house that you're going to sponsor your father? Is he in the house that you went to check on your cats?
Yeah, that's where my dad is right now. But actually, my dad's in the hospital right now.
Okay, but that's the home that you're going to sponsor to.
I'm not going to be able to actually sponsor that. I have a different one because he has to go to a rehabilitation place after the hospital because he has such a big surgery that he's not going to be up to coming to even greet somebody to do the house check or anything like that. So I know it's just going to be easier if I go somewhere else.
And you have a second sponsor? Or
yeah, I have all that. No, I have all that information with me.
Okay, but that's new information for us and should be provided to Officer Bosford.
Yes, yeah, I wasn't. Last time I talked to him, my dad hadn't gone to the surgery yet. We didn't know it wasn't scheduled, so I had no idea that he was not going to be available.
So how do you think Tier 4 is going so far?
I like it so far. I mean, it's very extensive as far as the programming. Coming from the west side, it's a big change, but it's what I wanted to do since I got here. I wanted to do the classes. I wanted to do things that were going to make me a better person and help me in my recovery.
Okay. So as you told my colleague, you've never done treatment out in the community. You told Officer Bosford that you don't feel you need substance abuse or mental health treatment and reported that you don't do well with treatment.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't do well with treatment. It's just that everybody works differently. Like for me, being around a group of people, I have a lot of anxiety towards that. So one-on-one is more appropriate for me. So it's not that I don't do well with the groups. It's just that I do better with one-on-one if possible.
Okay, but you're coping in a group setting in Maryland Baker.
Yes.
Okay. All right. It just, given your risk scores and your history with, dual diagnosis, to have you say to Officer Bosford that you don't need and don't do well with treatment really jumped off the page at me. So
I might have said that wrong. Yeah.
All right, I have no other questions. Thank you.
I have no questions. I think you did a good job asking what we needed to know right now. I mean, for me, the primary focus is for this bad draft to finish.
That's
So I don't have any questions.
That's where I was going. That's where I was going as well. Really feel she needs to finish that Tier 4 program. I thought that she did a good job explaining her anger management, her participation. I did a nice job even giving us an example of how to utilize the skill that she utilized for the recent event that went on. I'm not ready to release today, or could we release contingent upon completion? I wanted to complete.
I feel like it's too far out to do a contingent.
Okay, so no denial.
Talk to her about she needs a release plan.
Yeah. So what would be a good time period? Probably it's 6 months to a year.
Well, it finishes Tier 4 at the end of October. And she said, it could be extended for, so.
Would December be?
Early December.
I didn't want to spin it too close.
Right.
Like she could do after as well. Mm-hmm. So I thought actually if we heard of November,
that'd give her 5 months.
At least give her a little bit of support if she's granted.
And by then, even if she hasn't finished Tier 4, it'll be a matter of a couple of classes a days.
Agreed. Yes.
So inadequate evidence of offender change?
No.
She's still in treatment. She's still in taking the course.
Right, but we're hearing the change.
Oh, inadequate institutional program participation.
Completion.
Completion.
And I think a release plan would be helpful because I'm not clear on where she's going to end up sponsoring to and getting services for all of her needs.
Only those two?
And no DR.
And no DRs. Okay, so in the case of Jordan Metzdorf, inmate number 373-829, there's a motion to deny discretionary parole for the following reasons: inadequate institutional program completion and inadequate release plan. And added to that would be to rehear the case in November of 2024. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, so Ms. Metzdorf, you seem to be moving in a positive direction, doing some really good things. We'd like to see you complete that program. We've denied you discretionary parole today, and we'll rehear the case sometime in November.
Okay, with no DRs.
With no DRs.
Finishing Tier 4, other positive programming.
Finishing Tier 4 and other positive programming.
So what do you mean by other positive programming?
Any other positive program you can take besides Tier 4?
You haven't taken voices? That's on your OAP?
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
They offer any other programs or their support groups you can join?
Yeah, we do 3 meetings a week there. Would that qualify? Because I can't control when I get into voices.
You know that.
Yeah, we know. But whatever additional program, positive program you can take, what we would be expecting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we understand that. And think about where you want to release to. You said your dad's house is not a good place right now.
Yeah, I have the other
Have
address.
something different.
Right.
You can always go to a halfway house.
Yeah, that's not an option for me.
Okay.
So then you gotta have a sponsor.
Yeah, I have one. Yeah.
Okay, one moment. Do you have what you need to put in the dispo in terms of recommendations?
Yeah, so release plan, other positive programs, complete tier 4.
And no DR. Do you have a second? We this already? Okay.
Yeah, just the motion
Mechanics.
didn't include the
Okay.
recommendations.
Okay, so we're done.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Jordan, that's what number 3738.
Okay, so now we're going to fast forward to November 15, 2024. So again, this hearing took place on May 17th. Now it's November 15th. She had to complete some programs. She had to not get any write-ups. Let's see what they're going to uncover, and if she'll actually get parole this time. It's interesting. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but it seems that her brother has a restraining order against her, but somehow she's the bad guy. And then he said he was going to hurt her cats, so she went to the house to get her cats, but he set her up on purpose, and I'm sure that's exactly how it went down. Something else I picked up when he said, what did you learn from your program about controlling your anger? And she says, well, there was a situation, everyone likes me in the dorm, everyone likes me, but there was a situation where I shrugged my shoulders, and then I went back, I thought about it, and I came back and I said, I'm sorry that you misconstrued the situation. And it's like, no, that's not good. To come to someone and say, I'm sorry that you thought, the best way to say things, and you learn this in couples therapy, is I'm sorry that what I did made you feel this way. Not, okay, all right, it's baby steps. But there's the article Sir Richard found that August 10th, 2022, woman arrested at East Lynn Mall on narcotics charges. She was picked up on 11 outstanding arrest warrants. Okay, 11. And they found her with Fetty. Oh, and I almost forgot the DoorDash. That was classic. It was funny. Oh, I'm going to do DoorDash. And then she's like, you don't have a license. You're driving on suspended license and all these things. She goes, oh, no, someone else drives. I'm a passenger. It's like, oh my God, you saw how quickly. See, for me, that was the incredible part. How quickly, without skipping a beat, how she transitioned into a full-blown lie. And that, when you know someone is lying, you're not teaming up with someone doing. There's no money in DoorDash to team up with someone. Are you kidding me? And, if you just wanted to see, she is a what's it called? A seasoned liar. She's good at it, and it's definitely not a good look. But anyways, let's jump into this and hearing enough of me jabbering. If you do like that I connect the dots on these hearings, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. Sir Richard makes this possible with his magical spreadsheet. So we'll keep bringing you updates on parolees. We're the only channel on YouTube that does that. So support it if you like it. With that, let's jump in.
Ms. Maxwell, this is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
I think that I should be granted for parole because I've learned my lesson. I've learned that my anger is not a way to solve problems, and that I've learned coping skills while I've been in here, and I've learned that me and drugs do not mix well. It always leads to problems no matter what I do, and I'm a better person when I'm clean, especially around my family, and that I will never go back to drugs again because I know it leads to anger problems and violent outbursts. I think that I can be a positive member of the community when I go home now.
Great. All right. Thank you, Ms. Natsdorf. I was on your prior panel. Good to see that you've made some progress during this period of incarceration. You know how this process works, so we'll begin with Ms. Chance.
Natsdorf, we were asked at the last hearing to do two things. You were asked to complete the Tier 4 program and develop a positive relapse prevention plan. Have you done both?
I complete the program and I have 4 more classes left, and there's nothing I can do about that. It's just
When do you finish the class?
My teacher said the middle of next month, I think, but because of lockdowns and things, that could change. But as of Wednesday, she said that we have 4 more classes left, and we have 2 classes a week. But because she's absent this month a lot of Wednesdays because we have class Monday and Wednesday, so that's why I think she said the middle of next month, because we technically only have 2 more weeks left of classes. And when I go home, my job, I didn't have a job lined up.
Before you do the relapse, can you tell me what skills in your opening comments you said you've learned coping skills and not to use drugs? So tell me, what are those coping skills that you learned?
Keeping busy, basically. I like to read a lot, and that helps my mind to stop thinking about drugs. If I can focus on what I'm reading. So I do that a lot in here. And taking walks and working is going to be a big thing. And even breathing exercises and phoning a friend, things like that.
So are you able to identify your triggers and your urges and how you deal with them?
Yeah.
So can you tell me what your triggers are?
One of my triggers is seeing people that I used to use with and talking about it. So I'm going to make sure that when I go home that I'm not around any of the people that I used to be around. It's going to be helpful to not be in the same community too. I want to start over somewhere new so that I don't see a lot of the same things that I did before. And also getting angry has been a trigger for me, especially, it's mainly when I'm using, it triggers my anger. So I think just by not using, I'll be okay to not get angry a lot.
What happens when you get angry?
I tend to just see red and I get really violent and I don't think about what I'm doing before I act. It takes a lot to get me angry, but I realized that the drugs were like 95% of the problem.
What would you do if you get an urge?
Either read or go for a walk or go to a meeting. Or I like to make bracelets too, so I can do that too. Like crocheting.
Have you crocheted so far?
Oh, I make bracelets. It's kind of like crocheting, but I don't know how to use like the needles or the whatever they're called. But I make bracelets.
Okay, sounds good. Tell me about your relapse prevention plan.
I'm gonna make sure that I go to. I've been looking into going to a sober house, so there I would have to go to 5 meetings a week anyway. So I want to make sure that I go to as many meetings as possible and start to have friends that are sober. I haven't had a lot of friends in the past, and I've met a few people in here that are gonna be out and be sober as well. So we're gonna do things like go to the beach and like bike riding, hiking, things like that.
So have you thought about a sponsor? Have you done the 12-step? You've done any of that?
Not yet. I don't know how to do that really from in here. I think when I go into the community, I can find a sponsor at the meetings at AA and NA. They said that you find sponsors there.
Yeah. And during the tier 4, they don't discuss 12-step as part of.
No, ma'am, because we have like AA, NA, we have multiple groups that you can go to. So because you can't primarily go to one, I think that's why we don't do the 12 steps on that. I think you'd probably do that in the community if you went specifically to like AA or NA.
So you don't go to those meetings at the facility?
We do, but they don't discuss the 12 steps in it.
So tell me what you discuss when you go there.
In WFS, there's like readings that we have in a book, and we talk about like our past lives and how we've come to be where we are, what made us decide that we wanted to stop, what helps us keep focus, what we're gonna do when we go home. And some of us have are spiritual, like we believe in God, some of us don't. So we try to find like a mid ground to see how we can all like be in the same group, but not, I guess, have a common ground. What I'm trying to say.
I mean, like you can be in a group and some of you have a difference of opinion, but you can still work together.
Yeah, yeah.
So where do you want to go? You said you originally had indicated your parents.
Yep. My dad, since I've been in here, he had an open heart surgery a few months ago. So because of that, he's now in a wheelchair and he doesn't want somebody at his house right now because he could have to go back into rehab because he can't use his legs right now. And I guess his in-home help isn't helping him to the extent that he needs to. So he doesn't want me there in the event that he needs to go back into rehab. But there's a sober house in New London called Recovery 12. That's run by a woman named Inez Richards. And I want to try to go there, but she's on vacation right now.
Where is that? In New London, you said?
It's in New London, yeah.
And how would you pay for that?
My family is going to pay for if there's a deposit. Some of them don't charge a deposit, but if there is one, my family's going to pay for it. And then I can apply for basic needs through her, but I guess my insurance can also pay for it too, Husky. But she's on vacation right now, so my family is unable to talk to her specifically. She should get back within the next week or so.
It's did they change up the contents of tier 4?
I'm sorry?
Did they change the contents of tier 4? I'm just surprised that you're not addressing the 12-step there.
I think in all of the tier 4 that I've done so far, I don't even think we've spoken on it. We have an AA, but that's another part of the program. Like that's after the classes.
Okay. How are you feeling today? How do you feel about where you are now and having been in the tier 4, it's almost at the end, talking about what you're going to do when you go back out in the community?
I was hesitant to go into the program at first. I didn't want to go, but now that I'm there, I'm really glad that I am. It's kind of like a huge family. And it's not like being in the other part of jail where women aren't like looking out for each other's best interest. It really is like a big family. Like we all care about each other. We all help each other when needed. Even the counselors are there. They come by to check on us, make sure we're doing okay. And same with the counselor supervisor, Ms. Tamachi. She makes sure that she knows each one of us personally, and she comes to us if there's any problems. And we can always go to the other girls in the program if we need anything, if we just want somebody to talk to. Like when somebody goes home or even gets approved for parole, the whole building applauds them and everything. And they make cakes and they have dinners and everything. They're really looking out for everybody's best interest. It's really nice to see. So it makes me very hopeful to know that when I go home that I've gotten this experience because I can go home and like be a more positive person. I wasn't much of a positive person before I came here, but I learned the importance of having female friends around.
What are you going to do for a job?
As long as my dad doesn't go back into rehab, I don't think he's going to for a little while. I want to be his in-home aide because he does need somebody there all the time because he can't get to the top level or even the basement to do his laundry. Right now, my aunt is helping him every couple of weeks to do his laundry and whatnot, but he needs somebody there like to do everything for him. And I can also do DoorDash as soon as I leave here.
You're not going to live with your father,
on the side, but primarily I want to be my dad's in-home aide.
Repeat that answer, please.
My dad needs an in-home aide because who he has come to the house isn't there all the time. And the sober house is close enough to my dad's to where I could even walk there if I needed to. But he needs somebody there to cook for him, to clean, to do the laundry because he can't get anywhere really. And it's a multi-story house, so he's stuck basically on the main level. He can't go outside to do yard work. He can't go in the garage to do anything. So he needs somebody that he trusts, that's familiar with the house, knows what he needs, and yeah.
But he didn't want you living there?
He only said that because he might need to go back to rehab. But as long as he doesn't, then I should be okay. He just doesn't want to have me live there, and then I need to move, which could be a problem for parole. So he just said that to be safe.
Does he own the home?
Yes.
That's a little bit odd. I don't understand that part of it. Are you going to get paid?
Yeah, it's through his insurance company.
Okay, so your title would be that of is that a CNA or?
I think the title is in-home aide. I know that I contacted his insurance company and I would be paid through them. I would be employed through them, and they already know my charges, so they're okay with that. I would still be able to do it with that.
And that will still give you time to go to your meetings and do what it is that you have to do.
Yes, yep. At the sober house, they need you to, for some reason, be gone from like 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. all day. So I would do the meetings whenever they are. And when you have a job, you only have to do 2 a week instead of like 5. So I would do the meetings in the morning or at night, whichever, and then I would be with my dad the rest of the day whenever he needed me. And I think they also do groups too at the sober house. If you're not working, you do 5 meetings and 5 groups. But if you are working, you do 2 and 2 and 2, I think.
Okay, well, thank you for answering my question. Thank you.
You identified a potential sponsor, Mr. Morello.
Yeah. It's one of my friends and my mom's friends. I went to grade school and all through school with his son, so I know him very well. But I guess his son is having a baby, so they need the extra room. I didn't know about this until just recently. Otherwise, I would have had a sober house to go to all set. So I just found out that my addresses fell through recently, like a couple weeks ago.
When the parole officer spoke with your father, because he had previously agreed this year to sponsor you before your hearing back in May, and he talked to him again, and he said he has not spoken with you in years, and due to his medical issues, he's not able to sponsor you.
No parole for tape.
So, there's something not adding up in that situation. What's your plan B for work?
I know I can already do DoorDash when I leave here, but if not, I can get my job back at Burke Manufacturing. It's right down the street from here. It's, you basically make computer parts, but it's an assembly line kind of thing. I've worked there before in the past, and they'd be more than happy to have me back. And they take people with records as well.
But you didn't get us a letter saying that they're going to hire you.
I didn't know I needed one.
Well, we have nothing to go on other than your word if we don't have a letter confirming that they're intending to hire you back.
Well, I know. I understand. I didn't know. I don't think that anything with my helping my dad would fall through, I should say.
Where do you plan to seek services for your mental health?
UCFS in London.
Have you ever heard of the expression 90 and 90?
No.
It's 90 meetings in 90 days. And that's how people often, embrace their recovery and immerse themselves in the program of NA or AA with a goal of not necessarily one every day, but sometimes multiple meetings in a day.
Okay.
And it's a way to experience speaker meetings, step meetings, all women meetings, and, in order to find a home-based group that you're going to participate in.
Okay.
And it's a way to build that sober network that you were talking about.
Yes.
It's kind of curious because the way you described, if you have a job and you're out of the house, and they want you to be out 8 to 2 because you're supposed to be an adult and you're supposed to, like most people, work.
Yeah.
But you described it with reference to you only have to do 2 meetings a week. I would encourage you to consider immersing yourself in your recovery, making it your priority, and getting to as many meetings outside the house, the sober house, in the community, and at the house as you possibly can, instead of seeing it as a requirement that is somehow lessened because you've got a job.
No, I was just telling you what they require you to do. Of course, I can do more. Of course, I will. But I'm just saying what their requirements are.
It's not enough course unless we hear it from you.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Sosowskis.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Great. Okay. So we're done with the questions. Please give us a few minutes. Don't interrupt.
So I appreciate Ms. Maxwell talking about the Tier 4. I was a little bit concerned about her relapse prevention plan, and did not seem to put a high priority on her sobriety. So, Madam Chair, I appreciate you following through with the recommendation of the 90/90 meetings and explaining what it means. She did do what was asked of her. I know she explained, which was a little bit concerning, about going to her parents, despite what her father told the parole officer during the interview. I don't know who Ms. Mashore was speaking with, but I hope she gets everything straightened out before she leaves the facility in terms of whether her father's insurance has actually approved to pay her, and that she takes the advice that was given to her about focusing on her sobriety and trying the 90/90 meetings. So I'm willing to grant she has a flat sentence, and she did express changes that she wants to make. So I'm willing to grant it.
So this would amount to about 5 months of parole supervision. I want to make this contingent that she does complete Tier 4, so that would reduce this supervision to just over 4 months to get on her feet and hopefully access the services and support she needs going forward. Your thoughts?
I agree. Yeah, I would like to see her also to complete Tier 4. There was a an end date on this that was in November, but it looks like because of absences and other things, it's probably got extended a couple of weeks here.
Right.
So for conditions, I have mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary, halfway house if needed. I'd like to see her do anger management. I think she needs to continue to build those skills. And no contact with the victim, JM, without PO's permission. Did you have anything else?
No.
So in the matter of Jordan Maxdorf, inmate number 373829, there is a motion to grant parole on or after today's date, November 15th, 2024, with the following conditions. The grant is contingent upon successful completion of the Tier 4 program. You're to engage in behavior management for anger management out in the community. You're to have a mental health evaluation and participate in treatment as deemed necessary. There'll be a halfway house placement if needed, and you're to have no contact with the victim, initials JM, without parole officer's permission. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations, Ms. Maxdorf.
You.
You need to consider your parole officer as a support, somebody that can provide you guidance and access to programs and services to help you. You're only going to have a little over 4 months of that support in the community. So keep your focus on your recovery and your mental health, and we wish you much success.
Can I ask a question really quickly?
Who's here for that's for me 373829.
What's your question?
How long do I have the no contact order with the victim?
While you're under parole supervision, you are end of
Okay.
sentence in May
Okay,
And
so
you
after
could-
that, it's no.
And you could,
to your parole officer.
Okay.
You know, and it's not a blanket. You can have contact with him. It's case by case, day by day basis.
I just wasn't sure if it was like a lifetime protection order or just
It's
while
not a
DOC.
protective order. It's a condition of your parole supervision. Your parole ends in the beginning of
Oh.
May.
Okay.
a gentle way just to ease back into the situation without having any other problems. You know what I mean? Just go easy.
Okay.
That's all. Talk to your parole officer if you want to.
Okay.
Is he
Thank you very
living at
much.
your father's home? Is he living at your father's home?
Okay, Ms. Mansbrook, you're all set. I'll send you this information probably by the end of next week.
Okay, thank you.
Her brother is totally living at that house. How many lies was she caught in one parole hearing? You know what? There was nothing she could have done to not get paroled. They were going to parole her no matter what because they hate the idea of just letting her out on a flat sentence. But oh my God, I don't know. She could have gone in there and I mean, she could have done anything, right? Because she was caught in lie after lie after lie. I'm not sure if we have seen a bigger liar, a more professional liar than what we have just saw in this parole hearing. It was like they knew the facts. When you think about it, they had the information and they let her go on and on and on and on and on. And finally, they're like, well, they spoke to your dad and he doesn't want anything to do with you. He hasn't spoken to you in like who knows how long. What is she going to do? She's just going to show up at his house. He's going to be like, what are you doing here? I bet you we see her back in a revocation or something. Can you even imagine? And then she goes in and she starts talking about, remember, she had like 2 things she needed to do. She needed to like finish this program and she needed to have like a plan. And her plan, she doesn't state, is to come out and do 90/90. She doesn't state that but not only that, she does not know what 12 steps are, and she's claiming to go to NA inside of jail prison. We know she's lying. Everyone knows she's lying. And she goes on to say, like, you know, when you listen to her talk, she goes, and I'm sorry, I can't do that. Oh my God. I need to catch my breath. Oh, it's sad, really. I mean, we shouldn't think, can you even imagine She actually goes on to say, well, what's, oh no, because she realizes she doesn't know, there's no way she's been going. There's just no way. Or she's there, like her mind is who knows where. Like to not even know that there's something called 12 steps and to be like, well, no, because there's NA and NA. So because it's mixed together, they don't do 12 steps. If Mr. Marabella was here, he would have had an aneurysm, but he would have given it to her. You know, that's the difference between the Connecticut Parole Board and the Louisiana Parole Board. They would not have, they would say, you just didn't earn it. We don't, you know, no. Or they're able to set conditions, and I think they would have done that. You know, in Louisiana, you can set conditions, of parole conditions, on early term release conditions, things like that. But like, I don't know, they don't have that power here. So we'll probably see her again. You can tell when someone's done with their addiction. You can tell when someone's not. She's not going to succeed because she's not done yet. She's not tired yet, and hopefully she won't take something that's, you know, she won't. A lot of times you see with these cases, the sad truth is you serve time in prison, and she's, you know, had a 30-month sentence. She's been in there since 7/18/2023, at least prison time's counting, and you gain a certain immunity, right, a tolerance. You come back out, you go take your fetty of what your dose used to be. You don't have the tolerance, and you die right there on the spot. And you see that happen all the time. So Richard actually just emailed me about 3 parole hearings where the people had died within days of their release. Let me see what this is. I've run across 3 offenders who died within a week of their hearing a month ago. I just got this email 2 hours ago, so you know that's right on track. We can only guess why, right? Now, what can you do? You know, what can you do? But, you know, let's hope that she does well. Let's hope her cats are okay. Let's hope her brother and her get along. Let's hope dad doesn't. He's going to call the police the second he shows up. I mean, come on, where is she going to go? She just lied herself into screwing herself. She's stating that she has a plan to go to her dad's house. But they're like, you lied. Your dad doesn't want to. What's she going to do when she gets out? What's she going to do? Where's she going to go? Am I missing something? Like, what's going to happen? This is not going to go well. So make sure you hit the notification bell and I think it's time that we make a return of playlist on Connecticut because we are starting to have them roll in. And with that, I'll let you go.
And during the tier 4, they don't discuss 12 steps as part of.
No, ma'am, because we have like AA, NA, we have multiple groups that you can go to. So because you can't primarily go to one, I think that's why we don't do the 12 steps on that. I think you probably do that in the community if you went specifically to like AA or NA.
It's did they change up the contents of tier 4?
I'm sorry?
Did they change the contents of tier 4? I'm just surprised that you know, you're not addressing the 12 step there.
I think in all of the tier 4 that I've done so far, I don't even think we've spoken on it. We have an AA, but that's another part of the program. Like that's after the classes.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. Today's the 13th of May, 2017, and you are looking at CERN's website, as you so very often do on my channel. But before we get into this, I am going to have to ask all of you, you can laugh, you can roll your eyes, you can skip it, but I'm going to tell you, we're going to go through this prayer real quick. Before we start this video, in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, I run to you, Lord, for protection. Don't disappoint me. You do what is right, so come to my rescue. Listen to my prayer and keep me safe. Be my mighty rock, the place I can always run for protection. Save me by your command. You are my mighty rock and fortress. Come and save me, Lord God, from vicious and cruel and brutal enemies. I depend on you, and I have trusted you since I was young. I've relied on you from the day I was born. You brought me safely through birth, and I always praise you. Many people think of me as something evil, but you are my mighty protector, and I praise and honor you all day long. Don't throw me aside when I am old. Don't desert me when my strength is gone. My enemies are plotting because they want me dead. They say, now we'll catch you. God has deserted you, and no one can save you. Come closer, God. Please hurry and help. Embarrass and destroy all those that want me dead. Disgrace and confuse all who want to hurt me. I never give up hope or stop praising you. All day long I will tell the wonderful things you do to save your people. But you have done much more than I could possibly know. I praise you, Lord God, for your mighty deeds and your power to save. You have taught me since I was a child, and I never stop telling about your marvelous deeds. Don't leave me when I am old and my hair turns gray. Let me tell future generations about your mighty power. Your deeds of kindness are known in the heavens. No one is like you. You made me suffer a lot, but you will bring me back from this deep pit and give me new life. You will make me truly great and take my sorrow away. I praise you, God, the Holy One of Israel. You are faithful, and I play the harp and sing your praises. You have rescued me, and I celebrate and shout, singing praises to you with all my heart. All day long I will announce your power to save. I will tell how you disgraced and disappointed those who wanted to hurt me. Now, I realize that was wrong. That was long, my mistake, oh my. What I kept thinking of is this part. I don't really necessarily go with this, the Lord, but it's in the KGV, so maybe that's what it is. It's early. I'm not editing this, but the reason that I'm going to show you, the reason I'm asking you to follow me on this particular one, whether you believe it or not, it doesn't make any difference. Now, back to this. I had a conversation yesterday with somebody, Melissa from True Stream Media, and she sent me a chart, and I thought it was really odd that the chart was sigils. Here follows a list of several demons and their sigils of summoning. So this is how the seriously misguided people protect themselves in their minds and try to get hold of what they probably think are angels or dark forces. I don't know. But if you look down right here, LM, and see the sign right there, well, it's frighteningly close to the CERN symbol. Now, I'm going someplace with this. This is a long one, and it may not make all that much sense. Yesterday, I was working on my Toyota, and I inadvertently didn't hook up my dual battery correctly after I worked on the headlights, and I blew a relay. Now, I'm going to show you what a relay is, and then I'm going to show you how it ties into this. It's really strange. Now, this is a relay that I took out of my truck. So check this out. That's what it looks like. That's the inside of a switching relay for an automotive to make electricity travel in the appropriate fashion at the appropriate appointed time when you flip the switch, something to that effect, so forth and so on. But Melissa sent me that chart yesterday, and I'm looking at that, and this just happened yesterday, and it's a very odd thing that I even broke this because I'm very well versed in what I'm doing. I inadvertently forgot to connect something back in, but the reason I'm showing you this is look at this, and then look at these diagrams of angels, of fallen angels. Do you see all of these? If you look at these look exactly like the workings of the inside of a relay. As soon as I saw them, like this one specifically reminded me of that. And for instance, this is a wiring diagram. Here's the switch inside the vehicle. These are the lights on the outside of the vehicle. This is the relay, the thing that I just showed you that I blew. Now, why am I saying any of this? Do you see this right here? Look at these diagrams. Look at these different sigils. These are allegedly the symbols for each individual named deity, fallen angel, whatever it is you want to call them. LM is the Lord of Attrition, and that's the symbolism that CERN's using. If you look at these, it's the same thing as these. Do you see all these little symbols, all these little diagrams that they use when they're making electricity? Now think about it. Think about it. I know this is a tough one. You're really going to have to wrap your mind around it, and I can't quite find the quickest, easiest way to explain this. But when you look at this stuff right here, for electricity, it all looks the same as the symbolisms for summoning a demon. It just does. Now think about it. We've been taught about Benjamin Franklin finding electricity, so forth and so on. He went outside during an electrical storm. Well, this is what I stumbled across while I was looking at these sigils. It made me go back and think of the story that we were all taught when we were in school, how Benjamin Franklin went outside with a certain key shaped exactly like a sigil during an electrical storm. Now, the more you look into these symbols, which are supposed to be represented here by their appropriate deity that's attached to them, none of these are very friendly guys. But in the story, it tells you to go look at specific, they're calling these, in black magic or witchcraft or whatever you want to call them, they're calling these things circuits. And it makes me wonder why they're spraying the atmosphere with something that would be incredibly easy for electricity to travel through. They're filling it with heavy metals in the entire atmosphere, as well as plasma, which may be one and the same. I don't really know, because who knows what's really going on up there? Anybody that says they do doesn't, because we're all just guessing. But these are all the sigils, and when I look at them, all I'm seeing is a wiring diagram, a blueprint. And now you think about all the television shows that show electricity, something, you know, something evil traveling through the electricity and coming out and attacking everybody and taking over and so forth. And think about this. As far as we know, we are the only civilization that has built themselves a reverse Faraday cage. Think about it. This is a version of a Faraday cage, and this is pretty much indistinguishable from the same box that they keep around the D-Wave quantum computer or the gold-plated spinal cord that they have hanging inside of a Faraday cage, electromagnetically protected, kept below Kelvin, so forth, so on, and blah, blah, blah. But we, as a species, are the first ever to, not only are we living on an Earth that is surrounded, covered with telephone poles, electricity, all this stuff, when they damn well knew when they put these up, they didn't have to, because Tesla already showed them how to use wireless energy. They instead opted to surround us with telephone poles, power grids, electricity everywhere. And I mean everywhere. These things are absolutely everywhere. So not only when you're walking around outside are you no longer grounded to the earth in bare feet on soil, you have hot top concrete pavement, and we're surrounded by telephone poles. And then to take it one step further, when you're inside your own home, you're in your own personal anti-Faraday cage, because your walls are full of wires, your ceiling's full of wires, your floor are full of wires, they're everywhere. And now to take it even one step further, everyone's using a laptop, cell phone, or something like that that runs on what? Electricity. It's digital. They're filling the atmosphere, and they're conjuring these things, and they're using the symbols necessary to do such a thing. I'm having a hard time here. I can't really explain what it is I'm trying to say. A specific set of circumstances put all of this into my lap, one by one by one by one. And I'm trying to explain to you, but I can't really find the words to They have literally surrounded us with a super highway for demons to travel through. How's that? How's that? Instead of being inside a protective Faraday cage, we're inside the anti-Faraday cage, and they're using things like CERN, and they're using the symbolism every place that basically shows us that they are indeed conjuring. This symbol right here is obviously CERN. I mean, really? And then you see symbols like this for Dagon, and then again, I watch videos of people catching things like this in the sky. Take a look at this video, which captures what appears to be an eye in the sky. Now, the person using this isn't known for chicanery or tomfoolery, and they're using a serious camera setup that they know how to operate. But you tell me what this is right here. What does that look like? Nothing more than an eye. One eye. We are literally surrounded by one-eye symbolism right now, right? I mean, most people are carrying them in their pocket right now. I mean, you think it's a coincidence that every single celebrity, every single magazine, every single movie, every single music video, everything has this crazy one-eye symbolism in it, And then all of a sudden, people are actually catching stuff like this right before dawn, the most powerful point of the day where the veil is the thinnest. They're catching videos like this. That is not someone using their camera improperly. That is either A, it's a portal opening pre-dawn, right before dawn, or B, it's exactly what it looks like, an eye in the sky. And again, a lot of us videotape this stuff at night. For instance, here's a time lapse of the moon by the same exact person. And this is Melissa from True Stream Media. So she's not known for crying wolf, but what do you think that is? It's either a portal or it's the one-eye symbolism in the sky like we always see. And a lot of people have caught this. It's not just her. But I guess to make a long story longer, you're looking at a Faraday cage right here. The powers that be have intentionally built the exact antithesis of a Faraday cage all around us. They've given a super highway for these demons they're trying to release, a path directly into your home, if not into your pocket. At any rate, that's my 2 cents. When I kept looking through these sigils right here, I kept coming across things like use these when electricity is at its highest, and they kept referring to the sigils as circuits. Now, when I saw that exact sigil, the first thing that came to mind is that looks exactly like the relay I just took apart last night. And turns out it is. It is identical. This all looks like electrical drawings, and I don't think that's by accident. I think electricity is going to be the conduit that they use. Think about it. Ben Franklin, a Freemason, goes outside after doing some sort of a ritual. Something tells him to put a kite in the air with a specifically shaped key on the end, skeleton key. He comes back in and figures out how to make a light bulb out of the blue. Let me ask you this. You're sitting in the woods, you've got a tent, that's all you've got, you're going to live there the rest of your life. You may figure out how to go around and knock down trees and build yourself a shelter, okay? That's a possibility. Because those are the resources that are around you. If you have nothing else to do, if you have nothing else, you don't know of anything else except the rocks, the ground, and the trees around you, you will eventually figure out how to take logs, assemble them in a certain fashion that allows you to have a more permanent shelter other than standing underneath a tree. But how would you come up with this idea? To pick up certain particular rocks and melt them to the point where the rocks literally melt and turn them into steel, iron, aluminum, all these other things. How would you come up with that on your own while you are living on an earth where there's animals running around, you need to protect yourself, you need to feed yourself, you need to gather food, so forth and so on? How would this all just come to be? Think about it. Honestly question that. How would you come up with this information unless it was given to you or handed to you by things that you will constantly pay homage to for the rest of your life, in your buildings, in your signs, in your currency? You'll always have these symbols on your flag, in your family crest. That's exactly what's going on. When I look at stuff like this, it all starts to make sense. I know this video was kind of all over the place, but for those with the eyes to see and the ears to hear, you know what it is I'm trying to say. This all fell into my lap yesterday, and it kept falling into my lap. Maybe I'll have a little bit more clarity on it later, but I see what they're doing. They're surrounding us with electricity. The electricity will be the medium for these other dimensional beings to enter our reality in a physical form, and that's why they're spraying the sky so heavily, because the plasma, the barium, the strontium, the aluminum, the heavy metal in the atmosphere will be the conduit that allows them to come through here and literally start a hell on earth. Richie from Boston, if you can add to this, leave it in the comments. And if you can't, I'm sure you'll leave it in the comments anyway. Richie from Boston, like, share, subscribe, or don't. I'm out.
I will put you on my knee like a little child, and I'm going to spank you like a little child, but I will do it with a ton of jail time. Do you understand?
Welcome back to the Lackluster channel.
You were to come back tomorrow? Don't come with a baby. Do you understand me? Don't come back here with the baby. Because if you're here and I put you in custody for one reason or the other, I will call CPS. Do you understand? But here, whoever you are, I don't care who you are, we will hold you accountable. And if you continue to piss on my leg and tell me it's raining, there will be issues. Do you understand?
This is Judge Fleischer. He handles misdemeanor cases in Harris County, Texas. And if you like watching court drama, this guy is entertaining.
Have you played Monopoly before? Okay. In Monopoly, you get a get out of jail free card. This is the only one that you're going to get from me. If you ever miss court again, if you ever fail to come when you're supposed to, I will issue a warrant and I will keep the warrant and I will lock you up.
Sir.
Do you understand? No more get out of jail free cards.
All right,
Yeah.
Judge, the next
What? Did you think that you were coming to the beach today in shorts?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I completely wasn't using my head.
You know, when my kids tell me sorry,
It's my first time in court. I'm sorry.
it's a court. You know, in court, you're supposed to dress a certain way. This isn't the circus, man. You know, you continue to say sorry for things. At some point, your sorry will go in this ear and will go out that ear. You understand?
Sir.
Everything you're doing here, I'm going to mark it and we will know it. So if you come in here and try to play this game again, I will put you on my knee like a little child and I'm going to spank you like a little child, but I will do it with a ton of jail time. Do you understand?
Sir.
There's a reason I wanted to share a few of his cases. Over the years, we've discussed at length the differences between reasonable articulable suspicion, or RAS, and probable cause, also known as PC. Most of you know that probable cause is required for an arrest. But what exactly does that mean? Well, if an arrest is made with a warrant, it's assumed that PC exists because a judge has to sign a warrant based on evidence presented to them by those seeking the arrest. But when a person is arrested without a warrant, a probable cause hearing, or in some jurisdictions, a preliminary hearing, should be held within 48 hours so that a judge can review the alleged facts and determine if PC exists.
Ms. Jackson, you now stand charged with possession of marijuana. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
Yes, Judge. On September 26, 2024, officers conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle bearing an expired agent tag. Officers made contact with the occupants of the vehicle. Defendant Cephas was arrested for a DWLI, and defendant Jackson had active warrants out of Webster PD. Officers conducted an inventory of the vehicle and located 2 small black bags containing a green leafy substance on the passenger side where defendant Jackson was sitting, and a backpack containing a firearm in the trunk. The substance was identified as marijuana based on training and experience. The weight was 4 grams or 0.141 ounces. The defendants denied ownership of both. The defendants were identified with Texas driver's license.
Okay, I have so many questions.
Yes, Judge.
So first off, you said defendants.
Yes,
plural.
there are 2 defendants, Your Honor.
So the driver.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and then the weed was found where?
Under the passenger seat where defendant Jackson was sitting.
In what?
In a 2 small black bags.
How do you attribute the bags to her?
Your Honor, they were just located on the side of the vehicle where she was sitting.
So, could be his. Just puts it there. I don't know.
Yes, Your Honor, but the affirmative link would be in the proximity of where she was sitting as well.
Have anything else that identifies the bag as hers? The guy is the person's a guy, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so is there a lipstick? Is there anything else that would identify the bag as hers? You know,
No, Your Honor. All we have is that it was located on the passenger side glove box, just those two small glove bags.
glove box.
Yes, Your Honor.
Absolutely.
It was in the glove box.
Stop it. Are you losing?
Yes, Your Honor. That's all we have.
Okay, I'm gonna find no probable cause. Be careful with the company you keep. When you hang with dogs, you get fleas, Miss Jackson. You know this. Come on. All right, please, just take a seat.
Now let's look at a case that's more relevant to the incidents that we see over and over again on this channel. Interference with a public servant charges. Remember, a probable cause hearing is not a trial, and the prosecution is not required to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Good morning, Miss Wimbush. Ma'am, you are charged with interference with the duties of a public servant. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
On September 26, 2024, at approximately 1:15 p.m., an officer responded to a call at the TSU Library Center located at 3100 Claiborne Street in Harris County, Texas, regarding a disturbance. The officer made contact with the individual causing the disturbance, and the defendant approached asking officers what's going on and what did she do. The officers repeatedly asked the defendant to step back, and she became belligerent, asserting that they were at her store. She eventually complied and moved away, but she insisted that a police supervisor be called to the scene. TSU Sergeant Barnett arrived and spoke privately with the defendant. Afterwards, responding officer requested the defendant's information to report her behavior to her supervisor in the university. The defendant refused to provide it and attempted to bypass the officer. When the officer asked her to identify herself again, the defendant declined and attempted to walk away. As the officer tried to detain her, she began to throw herself on the ground and yell, escalating the disturbance. Several officers issued verbal commands for her to comply. The defendant continued to resist, jumping around and asserting her rights. The officer attempted to escort her outside. The defendant then wrapped her arms and legs around a pole, continuing to yell. The officers physically pried her from the pole and detained her. The defendant used her body weight to resist and push against the officers. The defendant was then placed in the back of the patrol car without incident.
Okay. What was she doing wrong?
So it appears she wasn't the initial person causing the disturbance, but when they came to respond to the disturbance that they were called for, she intervened. And once they asked her to remove herself from the situation, she...
And you didn't say, when you initially started saying about everything, you didn't say that she was the initial cause of the disturbance, that there was a call for a disturbance. They get out there and she, I guess...
So what it says is that they made contact with the individual that was causing the disturbance, and then the defendant approached asking...
See, right. So she just comes up, starts being nosy, right?
Right.
And then she basically, I guess, is trying to leave. And then they start asking her for her information.
Well, they were asking her to leave the scene so that they can respond to the disturbance, and she wouldn't comply. I think that's the issue, that she wouldn't leave when they asked her.
Did you say that?
Yes. They asked her to move away from the scene, and she refused to comply.
Show me, will you read that part again?
Mm-hmm. So when she approached the officers repeatedly asked the defendant to step back, and the defendant became belligerent, asserting that they were at her store. She eventually complied and moved away, but she...
So she complies, she moves away.
Right. But then she came back.
Okay.
And so at that point, when she returned, they asked her to identify herself. She refused to provide her identification. And then at that point, when they asked her to identify herself, she attempted to bypass the officers.
She leaves. She's trying to leave.
She is attempting to, she's attempting to leave again.
And then they start bucking up to her.
Sure, yeah.
Sounds like interference, so.
That's what she's charged with. But so sounds like she's got a case of the nosies, you know? She goes up there allegedly being nosy, leaves, comes back, and then they start asking for her information. She declines to give her information.
So, Judge, what I'm looking at here, just to add context to the situation, she approaches in an unrelated incident, it looks like. She's asking what's going on. Fine. They talk to her individually. Okay. They tell her to leave. She continually asks what's going on. What did she do? She asserts, she becomes belligerent, is what the officer says, asserting that they were at her store, obstructing their investigation. Eventually, I don't know what the time frame is, but they say eventually she complies, moves away, but insisted that they need to call a supervisor to the area. A sergeant then spoke with her privately. After they responded and they requested her information to report her behavior to her supervisor at the university, and to identify her, which she refused to do. She then attempts to bypass officers. They ask her for identification again. They're detaining her. She says no.
But what's the interference? What did she specifically do?
Well,
she's just talking to them.
I understand, Judge. She's talking to them, but she's saying that they're at her store. She's belligerent, telling them to leave. They're at her store. The position of the state judge is that did obstruct their investigation. I mean, it's not in this. There's multiple senses of obstruction in our opinion. It's not.
Are you losing right now? Okay. Yeah, I'm not buying it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do it. All right, I'll find no probable cause.
I'll dismiss the case, Judge.
When you go up and you get into a pissing match with officers, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Every single time. If you go up and you mess with someone who has the power of arrest, you're going to lose every single time. Don't go. It's not hard. I found no probable cause in your case, ma'am. Just be careful. Okay?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If I want to press charges,
Don't. You know what? Let sleeping dogs lie. Don't.
They assaulted me. They knocked out my tooth. They chipped my tooth. I got bruises on me.
And you can always go file a complaint with Internal Affairs.
That's what I'm asking.
Whatever.
Like, how could I do that? I don't know the protocol.
So, what agency was this? Is this? Did you say it was at a college or?
Yes.
Okay. You go to the Texas Southern University Police. You go to Internal Affairs, and you can file a complaint that way. Okay, I would take everything that you have, and that's how you do it. Okay, but just be careful.
I can't even go back to my job because they're trying to ban me.
I don't know. I mean, did they issue some kind of trespass warning?
No, sir.
If there's a trespass warning, be careful. I don't see that one has been filed. They haven't told me about any kind of trespass or anything, so just be careful. Okay.
I'll admit that it's refreshing to find a judge that doesn't bow to every charge a law enforcement agency and the county's prosecutors attempt to pursue. However, I disagree with the final advice he gave to the defendant.
If I want to press charges,
Don't. You know what? Let sleeping dogs lie. Don't.
They assaulted me. They knocked out my tooth. They chipped my tooth. I got bruises on me.
And you can always go file a complaint with Internal Affairs.
I can't imagine that we're meant to sit by and wait for the government to stop doing what it was never meant to do. And that sentiment is better explained by James Otis Jr., who wrote in 1767 that, quote, "Nothing destroys liberty faster than the belief that it's better to submit quietly than to stand up and defend our rights." Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section. If you'd like to see more cases featuring Judge Fleischer, let me know that you enjoyed this video. Otherwise, check out some of my other work, linked on screen.
I will put you on my knee like a little child, and I'm going to spank you like a little child, but I will do it with a ton of jail time. Do you understand?
Welcome back to the Lackluster channel.
You were to come back tomorrow? Don't come with a baby. Do you understand me?
Sir.
Don't come back here with the baby. Because if you're here and I put you in custody for one reason or the other, I will call CPS. Do you understand?
Sir.
But here, whoever you are, I don't. All right, so I see that you're wanted out of Bucks, Pennsylvania on a parole violation.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
2 underlying cases.
So the fact that he's been on this same fugitive case twice more in your court works both in and against my favor. Before my time in general litigation, there were 2 prior other prosecutors.
Here we go, flexing the muscle.
Well,
I'm just
one of
kidding.
them was me. One of them was me. But for the 2 prior ones were dismissed, and he keeps getting arrested on the same warrant, and they keep not picking him up. I had Amy call the.
This is going to happen eternally for you, Mr. Ginder, until you go back to Pennsylvania. You will continue to get arrested over and over and over. It doesn't require you to say anything. I'm just giving you a heads up that warrant will be there for the rest of your natural born life until you take care of it. If you're 72, you will still get picked up and sit in jail for. How do we go forward?
So this is one of those unusual situations. There is no pre-signed waiver, so he has a right to
a parole case.
Some states, including ours, they just don't have it in the clause for their parole. But I've had Amy call, and she was only able to reach the supervisor for the deputy that actually handles his specific warrant.
Don't we have enough people in jail, number one? And if they don't care enough to pick them up over and over.
So one of them, I was explaining to Ricardo, the first, and I could be wrong, I haven't checked my notes, but one of them might have been around COVID. And so I know a lot of them were picking up, nobody can fault for that. But the other ones, I don't know. And that's why I'm saying, like, I'm not trying to present anything in court that I don't have. But conversely, he's had considerable long time to cure his warrant. And so that's why I said, like, what's for and against me is obviously I don't like them playing games.
You want.
For me, I would like to get a hold of the supervisor there and figuring out what happened the other times, but we've just been unsuccessful this morning. And that's the issue.
I get it. Do you want to perhaps roll it to tomorrow? So it gives you enough time? Hey, I'm with you. It's maddening that someone continues to get picked up and they don't care. Either release the hold or come do your job. I mean, really.
Because we do have ones where they release it locally, where they teletype that they won't enforce it in certain jurisdictions or just contiguous ones. And so I don't have an answer to present the court. I mean,
roll it to tomorrow. We're going to try to get to the bottom of it, Mr. Gimbel or Ginder. But regardless, that warrant, until you take care of it, is going to eternally be out there forever and a day. And if you like to continue to get arrested, but at some point it must get tiring, right?
Sure. All right, we'll roll it tomorrow.
So let's roll it to tomorrow. I will tell you this, that I mean,
I know, and that's where I'm at as well. And so I'll see if I can I'll keep going up the chain until somebody answers. That's all I can do.
Yeah, good luck, Day. I know how diligent you are. You know?
Hey, Judge.
How's it going? How's jail?
Not good. I think everybody should go there for 7 days on the first DWI. I think it fits a lot of things for a lot of people.
You know, and I routinely say this to people, Mr. Fox, is that I would say, I don't know the true statistic, but usually when people go to jail, that one time, most times that one time is scary enough that it's self-correcting and they wise up that they don't ever want to go to a place like that. I mean, it stinks. There's
things that you know.
So yeah, I know there's no air conditioning, but jails are jails. I mean, it's not the Holiday Inn. It's not Club Med. It's not Disneyland. It's happy and the most wonderful place in the entire world, right? But you got to understand is that we have routinely let you out over and over and over. And you make us promises, you tell us you're going to do things, and then we come to find out later on, it's a completely different thing. You have what, 2 open DWIs, right? Is it at least 2, right?
It's two.
You're on probation with us, and then you pick up a felony as well. At some point, I have to say when. We can't continue. Sometimes we have to protect people from themselves, their own worst enemy. And I'll tell you, when we first did the TRAS, I told you how reluctant I was to go with the other agreement that you guys had worked out, because I wanted to do SATA, because usually our clinicians know what's up. They know the right way to go through things. And you want me to let you out for the holidays, but that really scares me.
I just want my bond reduced, sir. My wife and we're getting divorced, wants me home for Christmas. And spending Thanksgiving in there. And yes, you're right. I mean, I call it jail therapy. I don't know what.
Look, let's not talk about the case at all. I don't want to talk about the case, but I'm bringing you out just.
I want my bond reduced, sir, so I can I mean, like you said, number one, I can't drive. You're gonna have an ankle monitor on me. I can't go anywhere. So
But we still ask you to do things and you refuse to abide by bond conditions. Every time you tell me and you make a promise, you know how it goes, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, really shame on me. And that's where we're at. You tell me things that you're going to do. You tell me that you're going to abide. And when you get out, you still do whatever you want to do.
I never spent 28 days in jail, sir. And this is definitely a wake-up call. I don't know any other way to put it. I mean,
and you've told me that story before.
I've never been in jail before, sir. I've never once been in jail until this time. And I don't need to know how to explain it because I know you probably.
The good news is this, Mr. Fox, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. That Mr. Sims is working hard to try to resolve these things once and for all, so you don't sit there and linger. The idea is to do the program that we had initially set. The only problem is the case at a county. That's the holdup, I think, at this point. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have Morgan reach out over there. We're going to have James reach out to your lawyer on that case to see if we can come up to a global resolution once and for all. And hopefully we can do that by next week. I don't know, but I'm hoping. I don't know what the other county has in store, what they want, but hopefully we can get on the same page. And if we let them know this is our intent to do SATF, hopefully we'll see what happens. But
okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Fox, but look,
I put myself in this risk,
and
right?
quite frankly, you scare me. You know, every day someone dies from a DWI in our county, every single day. We'll set it for about mid to late next week. Hopefully we can have an answer for you because, like I said, I don't want you to just sit there and just linger. We're going to try to work hard to get this thing closed as quick as possible for you, because the problem is the idea is to get you help as quick as possible, not to sit there. So we're working hard for you, though. Okay, Mr. Fox, thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Zavalos. Mr. Zavalos, you're charged with assault, bodily injury. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You guys have worked out an agreement. They're offering you an 8-month deferred. Do you know what that is?
But he explained to me probation, community service, lots of other things that you'll have to do.
Right. A deferred is a type of probation that if you successfully complete it, you do not end up with a conviction on your record. You can't tell people it was dismissed. It wasn't dismissed. You merely completed the probation successfully, didn't end up with a conviction. What you need to recognize is that you give up almost all rights known by entering into this agreement. And you let us, and you give us the ability to put you in jail for an entire year if you violate this agreement. You can violate it by picking up a new case. Don't do your classes on time. Don't do your community service on time. If you test positive for drugs or alcohol, you violate this community service. Do you understand? I'll make you a deal, though. If you do well, if you're nice to everybody, get your classes done quick and everything done quick, I'll take you off in half the time. So you could really be done with this in 4 months if you really kick butt. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to be understanding, though, if you fail to appear, if you pick up a new case, all bets are off. Do you understand? You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you enter into this agreement, you are stuck with it until you complete it successfully or it gets violated. For you to complete this successfully, you must do a thinking for a change class. You must do a 4-hour anger management class. Which thinking for a change did you want? Were you thinking? You must also do 30 hours of community service. Do you have any children, sir? Tell me, how far did you get in school?
I just finished my semester last week.
In what?
What do you mean? College or? Oh, in college, yeah.
Great job. What do you study?
Natural sciences while I'm still in community college, but when I get to the 4 year, I want to study kinesiology.
Let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
What do you think this is going to do? Do you think this is going to hurt or help you?
I'm a firm believer in consequence.
But you need to understand,
no matter the perspective of the person who is being, punished or receiving consequences. So I know myself pretty well, and I could say that it's definitely going to be a good stepping stone.
Mr. Zavalos, what I want you to understand, when you are applying for jobs in the future, people don't know you. Even for you to step into the door, the only thing that people are going to look at, employers, they're going to look at, number one, your record. They're going to want to see who you are. And I'm going to tell you now, the more convictions you pick up, the worse it is for you. All you're doing is making life more difficult. Do you understand? I hope with this, you really take it to heart, because we want to see you succeed. We want to see you be the best person that you can be. But convictions and criminal cases, no matter what happens, people will still use it, and you need to consider it. When you're out in the free world, self-control. Do you understand?
I understand. Yes, I remember the last conversation, and I feel like I'm doing pretty well. I mean, he still heckles me. You know, he tries to get a rise out of me.
You know what? Then it's never going to stop, Mr. Savalos. You need to be the bigger man. And it sucks. And, you know, in life, do you think that there are people who mess with me? You know, on a constant basis, on a daily basis, I have people that are always messing with me as well. You know, but I still try to do the best job I can. I do what's in my heart. I do what I think is right. And that's what you need to do as well. Mr. Savalos, be the better man. You know, if you need to move, if you need to get away, you know, but even if they're still heckling with you, call the cops. You find another way. Don't take matters into your own hands. We don't want to see you fail. All right?
Thank you for your concern.
Well, we want you to be the best person you can be, really. So you're in college, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Read the shorter link. Thank you for changing.
No, but my 30 hours community service, as long as you're in school, I mean, that's great. Just great. Just better yourself. That's what, so. Yeah, I mean, if they're okay with it.
Okay with that, yes.
You know, just look, the idea is that you learn and you don't come back, right? So how old are you, bud? I'm going to waive all your fines and fees. It's never about the money. Just do what you say you're going to do it on time, and make the most of it, all right? Mr. Savalos, how do you plead to the assault? Guilty or not guilty? I'm not going to find you guilty. We'll withhold it for 8 months. Do what you say you're going to do. If you ever have a problem, come back, talk to us. We're here for you. Good luck, man. You know? So get your stuff done quick. We'll take you off quick, and you're done, all right?
And all right. I receive word on like when I should start all that.
Tori over there will tell you exactly what you need to do. All right. Okay, man. Bill letter. All right, Mr. Bill letter. So you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. You need to understand that you're making a lifetime decision today, and this is a very big one because you're pleading guilty to this offense. It's going to go on your record. Once it's on your record, it's there forever. It's even there after you die, and it's important because when you get into a car in the future, if you start consuming alcohol, if you do before you get into a car, you get pulled over. All officers do is they look at your criminal history. They look at how you are. What do you think is going to happen if they smell alcohol and they look at this? Probably not going to go well. So if I were you, I would never get in a car, even if you've had a sip of alcohol, because it's a humongous and it's just a big financial risk. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, I did.
You also give up a lot of rights by entering this agreement today. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers if you're not a citizen. There are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Like I said, once you plead guilty, there's no turning back. Is this what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
How do you plead to the offense of driving while intoxicated? Guilty or not guilty? The other thing I want you to understand, Mr. Bill Letter, is that, you know, DWI is big business. When you plead guilty to a DWI, there's a $3,000 surcharge that DPS hits you. If you don't pay it, you don't get a license until you do. There's also court costs to the tune of around $500. I will do you a favor and I will waive them. But I want you to understand that if you come back a second DWI, you're looking at around $6,000 in surcharges. $6,000. Not to mention court costs. You could look forward to around $7,000 in fines and fees. You understand?
Sir.
Literally, one button on your phone, $50, anywhere you want to go in the city. Uber, that's what I'm trying to say. It's extremely easy. They'll come pick you up no matter where you want to go. Do you understand?
Sir.
I'll find you guilty. I'm going to send you to 3 days in jail. I will give you credit for the 1 day that you've done. I am going to suspend your license for 90 days.
credit?
Why?
One, do you want to know about personally, or two, he already
I'm already
obviously.
taking off around $3,500 worth of fines and fees.
Right. So he's retired, but he has a lot of medical, issues that he has to go to, and also I believe you said that your siblings also need help driving around, getting around to medical and groceries and responsibilities such as that.
I'm a firm believer that everybody makes mistakes. You know, you're allowed to make a mistake once in a while. But if you continue to make mistakes that endanger the lives of other people, at that point, it's not a mistake and it's a choice. And when you make childish choices, you get treated like a child. And what we do with children here, we put them over our knee and we spank them like a little child. Or we do it with a ton of jail time. So get a clue. Just don't get into a car if you've had even a sip of alcohol. Do you understand, Mr. Billetter? I will acquiesce to you, but that's it.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Good luck, sir. Please stay clear. You are Alexei is Karatanov.
Alexei Karatanov.
Yes.
Would you like a translator?
I understand you.
Okay.
I translate, yes.
Would you prefer the translator, counsel?
My understanding, Mayor, my client here has some mastery of English, but in a proceeding like this, I'd much prefer a translator so you can have the exact understanding of what's going on.
Please order in the court so the translator can be heard and hear what's going on also.
Okay. So it looks like you are wanted out of, let me see. Please, if you can translate, Madam Interpreter.
Я смотрю, вас разыскивают.
You are wanted, I don't even see. Day?
Your Honor, he's wanted out of Gwinnett, Georgia for theft by taking.
Вас разыскивают в Гвине, Джорджии за воровство.
He is believed to be in connection with several others, which is why he's charged with engaging in organized criminal activity.
И предполагается, что он связан с рядом других преступлений, поэтому его обвиняют в участии в организованной преступной деятельности.
They're alleged to have manipulated ATM machines in our state and in Georgia.
Предполагается, что он манипулировал банкоматами ATM-машин в штате, здесь, в нашем штате и в штате Джорджия.
And just in our charge alone here in Harris County, they unlawfully withdrew $236,000 and $236,800 or $385.
И обвинение только здесь, в округе Харрис, что они незаконно сняли 236 тысяч и $300, и также 336 тысяч и $800.
He's alleged to be the co-defendant in our local case, to be the one that rented the vehicles.
Предполагается, что он является соответчиком по нашему местному делу по аренде транспортных средств.
And is alleged to have committed similar offenses in Georgia.
И предполагается, что он совершил подобные преступления в Джорджии.
They would be asking for no bond at this time.
Поэтому сейчас мы просим не устанавливать залог.
And the defense is on the defense side, Your Honor. As far as the facts of the case, we have very good alibis for the days he's alleged to be in Georgia.
И что касается защиты по этому делу, Ваша честь, то у нас есть факты по этому делу, у нас очень хорошее алиби по тем дням, когда предполагается, что он находился в Джорджии.
And Mr. Karitanov has been here in custody for several days before he made bonds in the Harris County cases.
Он находился здесь несколько дней, прежде чем были внесены залоги по делам в округе Харрис.
Those bonds were substantial, a total of $150,000 in Harris County.
Эти суммы были значительными, суммарно это было $150 тысяч в округе Харрис.
It wasn't until those bonds were made that the detainer from Georgia was placed. So we did not know that the $150,000 worth of bonds he made would do him no good to get him out until such time the bonds were made.
И эти залоги были внесены, только после этого был приказ от штата Джорджия, поэтому мы не знаем, что были ли эти 150 тысяч в качестве залога, пошли они ему на пользу для освобождения до тех пор, пока они не были внесены.
Mr. Karitanov waived extradition about 6 days ago already, Your Honor.
Oh, so he's got.
То есть господин Харитонов ожидал экстрадицию уже 6 дней тому назад.
Georgia has declined to come get him thus far. In those 6 days, he has had to be placed in segregation for mental health troubles. You can see that there's a big wound on his forehead from encounters he's had in the jail that has been moderately well taken care of.
То есть штат Джорджия не захотел приехать, чтобы его забрать на протяжении этих 6 дней. Вы видите, что его поместили в камеру для отдельного заключения в связи с психологическими проблемами. Вы видите эту большую рану у него на лбу от стычки, которая у него была в тюрьме. Поэтому не следует хорошо о нем позаботиться.
And he is also on Friday was not able to make his hearing because he was sent back in error. So we were not able to discuss this on Friday. So he spent an additional 4 days in jail for that reason.
Итак, в пятницу он не смог участвовать в своем слушании, поскольку он был отправлен назад по ошибке, поэтому мы не смогли это обсудить в пятницу, поэтому здесь появились еще дополнительные 4 дня.
Mr. Karitanov has a whole life built here in Houston. He's not a transient figure. He's not a traveler.
Господин Харитонов здесь прожил в Хьюстоне всю свою жизнь. Он не тот, кто постоянно переезжает и передвигается с места на место.
His partner is here in court to support him. His daughter is set to visit him from Russia for the holidays. There is no chance he's not going to deal with these charges, Your Honor.
Партнер здесь в суде для того, чтобы поддержать его. Его дочь посещала его из России во время праздников, и поэтому он не собирается справляться с этими обвинениями здесь.
He does have legal status here in America and is applying to become a lawful permanent resident or citizen.
У него есть легальный статус в США, он подал заявку на то, чтобы стать постоянным резидентом.
So the thing the defense requests, Your Honor, is that bond be set regulating this future warrant so Mr. Karitanov can go answer the brand new to him charges from Georgia without having to wait for Georgia to come pick him up and take him to jail.
Поэтому мы запрашиваем Вашу честь, чтобы был назначен залог для того, чтобы он смог здесь отвечать по новым предъявленным обвинениям из Джорджии и не ждать для того, чтобы из Джорджии приехали и забрали его в тюрьму.
And while this is a fugitive case, at no time was Mr. Karitanov aware of any charges, and he refused to go answer them. They were brand new while he was in custody.
И несмотря на то, что это является дело о том, что он скрывается от правосудия, господин Харитонов не знал об этих обвинениях, и он не отказывался от того, чтобы отвечать по ним. Поэтому это совершенно новое обвинение для него.
He does have the means to travel to Georgia and Gwinnett County, which is just north of Atlanta, Your Honor. He will certainly do so with all haste when he is released. He just is asking the court, because of the difficulty of being in jail when your English is limited, especially interacting with people in jail who may not be the most well-intentioned, especially if you don't speak the language they speak, has already resulted in his injury and his segregation in mental health unit. So he asked for a bond so he can go handle the charges as he intends to do.
Итак, у него есть средства для того, чтобы поехать в Джорджию, в округ Квиннити, это находится на севере Атланты, и он обязательно это сделает, когда его отпустят. Мы просто просим суд в связи с тем, что у него сложности нахождения в тюрьме, особенно когда знание английского языка ограничено, это осложняет коммуникацию с теми, кто находится в тюрьме. Как вы уже видите, это привело к травмам и раздельному помещению в камеру для психологической помощи. То есть мы просим вас определить залог, и мы сможем справиться с этими обвинениями, которые выдвинуты.
Since the state got into the probable cause, Your Honor, I'll let Your Honor know that the date that they alleged he was in Georgia committing an offense, we have photos of him here in Houston and long text chains. I mean, I've got dozens of photos proving he was not.
But understand the nature of the charge is such that it's.
I understand, Your Honor, the state gave you facts, I want to give you.
Of course.
Итак, и поскольку обвинение должно обвинение иметь достаточных оснований, я могу вам продемонстрировать, Ваша честь, что в те дни, когда предположительно он был в Джорджии, у нас есть фотографии, что он был здесь, находился в Хьюстоне, и большая переписка, у нас есть очень много фотографий, которые подтверждают это, что он был здесь.
Before I get into any arguments, this is the first I've heard of Gwyneth not coming for him. If they are not,
well, I'm assuming because they're not here yet.
Did you get?
Do you definitively know that they're not going to come get him, or is it because they're not here yet?
I'm not representing the court. Gwinnett County has told me anything at all. Only
It's
their
just
current
because they have not yet.
Like I didn't get a release
Have
teletype.
you spoken to them, and are they going to come get
I'm only
him?
going off of the teletype, but it's my understanding that they are going to come for him.
И сейчас я не обсуждаю, кто приедет или не приедет кто-то из штата Джорджия для того, чтобы забрать. Известно ли это наверняка, или это связано с тем, что их пока никого здесь нет.
But as the court has already mentioned, his physical presence, due to the nature of the offense, is irrelevant to the crime because it's the manipulation of the ATM machines.
И как уже суд определил, физическое его нахождение в связи с природой преступления не имеет значения, поскольку это манипуляция банкоматами.
And just in our jurisdiction alone, there are alleged 27 ATMs that were hit.
И только в нашей юрисдикции предполагается, что это было 27 банкоматов.
He specifically played one of the roles he played in this alleged offense here.
It's not. Mr. Karatanov, I want you to understand two things.
Я хотел бы, господин Харитонов, я хотел бы, чтобы вы понимали два аспекта здесь.
My primary concern is public safety.
Мое первичное опасение, основное опасение, что это общественная безопасность.
My other concern is, if we set you a bond, are you going to go back?
И второе опасение, что если мы определим для вас залог, вернетесь ли вы?
I don't know if I'm going to.
Я не знаю, будет ли это так.
But let me give you a bit of information first, so that you are well informed.
И я вам сейчас дам определенное количество информации, чтобы вы были проинформированы должным образом.
This is a fugitive case. You are go ahead.
Это дело о том, что скрываетесь от правосудия.
You are an inherent flight risk.
Вы являетесь постоянно, с вами связан постоянный риск побега.
If we set you a bond, you will have to make most, if not all of it.
Если мы определим для вас залог, то вы должны сделать большинство, если не все.
Whereas you have waived, you've also made bond.
Когда вы отказались от так называемого залога.
The time for Gwinnett County to come get you has already started ticking.
И время для округа Гвинет, чтобы они приехали, вас забрали, оно уже начало свой отчет.
At least 6 days have already passed.
The final date is the 7th.
По крайней мере, прошло уже 6 дней.
If we set you a bond, you will have 2 weeks to go turn yourself in that jurisdiction.
Если мы установим для вас залог, то у вас будет 2 недели для того, чтобы вы отправились туда и признали свою вину в этой юрисдикции.
I'm going to tell you that if we do, it's going to be a very substantial bond. Not to mention, you will have to surrender your passport.
И если мы установим залог, то это будет очень значительная сумма, не говоря уже о том, что вам нужно будет отдать нам ваш паспорт.
So I'd like to you guys powwow, because I don't know if I do, but it's going to be very substantial.
Я не знаю, установлять залог будет очень большим.
A lot of people would say that and go hire a lawyer if they even come.
Очень многие люди говорят об этом из-за тем, что они наймут адвоката, если они вообще вернутся.
What do you think?
So one of the things I wanted to address is part of his role was renting the vehicle itself in the commission of these offenses, and so he clearly has the means to find transportation.
Итак, что бы я хотела сказать по поводу этого дела, его роль была в том, чтобы арендовать транспортные средства, то есть очевидно, что у него есть средства для того, чтобы находить транспортные средства.
But just because of the extent of the offenses spanning multiple states is that I would still stay at no bond.
Any other history?
С учетом вообще масштаба преступления, который затрагивает несколько штатов, я бы все-таки настаивала на том, чтобы не устанавливать залог.
Just a local DWI, Judge.
Просто хотя бы местное DWI.
My counter, Your Honor, is, as you mentioned, you have to make probably all of the bond. So a bond's even $5,000 to $10,000 is similar to
No, I mean, we're talking five, heavy 5 figures.
Мы говорим об очень больших числах, 5 цифр и выше.
It's certainly an option is better than no option. So if the court would consider it, it may be that he can't make the bond set, and he'll have to wait regardless.
Может быть, он не сможет нести залог, может быть, ему все-таки придется ждать.
Let me think about it, but I also wanted you to know that I will not set anything until he first surrenders a passport.
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
know,
Мы об этом
talk with him to
подумаем.
see.
I will, Your Honor, and that conversation may be aided if you can give me an indication of how long you will, before you will let him go.
Well, if we do it today, I set him on today. I mean, assuming he first surrenders his passport, because the first things first is he's gonna have to surrender here to the clerks, so we have possession of it, and at that point we set him on.
В любом случае, мы назначим залог только тогда, если он передаст
They have 9
свой
days
паспорт,
to
отдаст
get it.
его своему нашему судебному клерку.
She's trying to catch up. It's
И у
a,
него затем будет 9 дней для того, чтобы внести залог.
So for my guidance to Mr. Crazy, after 9 more days, will we set a PR bond on this issue or release?
well, what happens is they have 9 days to come get him. If they don't come get him in 9 days, they file a motion to dismiss.
Unless there are
But-
extenuating circumstances.
У округа в Джорджии есть 9 дней для того, чтобы приехать и забрать его. Если через 9 дней они этого не сделают, то тогда они подадут ходатайство о снятии рассмотрения этого дела.
Even if they file that dismissal because they don't come get him, that warrant will always remain out there. So they could literally dismiss it, refile it within the next couple hours, get another hold. So if he is released due, you got to lickety split, you know?
The next thing he'll do is go to Georgia.
So yeah, you guys talk about it, let me know, and then we can go from there.
Yes, sir. Well, thank
И
you.
тогда же, если они снимут рассмотрение дела, через пару часов они могут подать снова, и опять это может начаться отсчет. В любом случае, вам нужно хорошенько обговорить все аспекты этого дела и затем сообщить мне.
Do you want her to call back there?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to chat you the phone number to the holdover, Miss Mikova. If you would mind, I'm live streaming, so please do not say anything live, anything now, but I'm going to chat you the phone number to the holdover if you don't mind calling over there so you can help translate.
Okay, so
Bear with me, let me chat you the phone number. All right. Antonio Perez Orozco. So you're charged of driving while intoxicated, first offense. It's elevated to a Class A misdemeanor because of the high blow. You were facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. Looks like you guys have worked out an agreement. They're offering you 37 days in jail, credit for the 37 days that you have done. You want to plead guilty to this offense, am I correct?
Yes.
You need to understand that this charge will go on your record. It's going to be there for the rest of your life. Because of that, if you were ever in a car driving and you smell like alcohol and you get pulled over, it will probably not end well. So if I were you, if you want to drink, don't get into a car. Do you understand? You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you are not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, like I said, it will go on your record. You cannot change this or undo this. Do you understand?
Yes.
You still want to do this?
Yes.
How do you plead to the offense of driving while intoxicated? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Is it true or untrue that you had a 0.15 or above?
I think so, yes. I think so, yes.
True, the enhancement. All right, I'm going to find you guilty, sentence you to 37 days in jail. I'll give you credit for the 37 days that you've done. I'm going to suspend your license for 90 days, sir. Do not drive until you get a license, and good luck to you, sir. Thank you, Antonio. So what happened? Is he keeping the waiver? Day. Is keeping the waiver?
That's a waiver.
No. On,
Oh, he's keeping the waiver, yes, Judge.
okay. got it. You're excused, Ms. Novikova. Thank you so much for helping
Okay,
us.
thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day, Your Honor.
All right, take care. All right, you were Timothy Polkey.
Louis Polkey, Your Honor? The name's incorrect. My name's Louis Polkey.
Not Timothy?
No.
Okay, call him Mr. Pokey. Okay.
What you want to do about this?
I can just rewrite it.
You're right, it says Timothy Polkey here.
And there's
What
not.
is a warrant?
I see my social security number says Louis Polkey.
Okay, don't just, hey, Mr. Kim, we got the name wrong on this, so we might have to amend
I
it.
think he has two aliases, Judge. That's
No, I don't have
certificate.
aliases.
That's true. Hold on.
Hey, I got a bunch of DAs here.
No.
Nothing about you.
Just please don't say anything. It's really, I'm trying to protect you, all right?
It says Timothy Louis Pokey in the hit confirmation that we have.
Oh, it is Timothy Polk. Yeah, so you are Timothy Polk.
No, my name's Louis Polkey.
Lewis.
I even told the officer when they gave me my.
Okay, so we'll fix it, don't worry. We'll fix it. One way or the other.
So it shows as an AK, Your Honor, but I'm gonna run to see if I can match a SID number, FBI number.
I'm gonna just file another one.
Well, I mean, I have to reflect what's on the teletype. I mean, unless there's another need to do so, because that's the name that they're extraditing.
You want me to write in Lewis then?
Oh, for the middle, I mean.
1973.
Oh, that's different. I might need a moment, Judge.
We're gonna fix it, don't worry. Regardless, you were waiving it formal extradition, correct?
Yes, I didn't.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is, now that we know that, we're gonna fix the paperwork. We'll have you sign a copy that reflects what the name is, and then that's it, okay?
So you don't need to mark this one?
But don't send it down, because we need this.
We're gonna have to check with, I think he said February 12th.
Good morning, Mr. Helms. Mr. Helms, you're charged with a total of 3 cases. It looks like you're charged with a theft, another theft, and then you're also charged with criminal mischief.
Yes, sir.
It looks like you've worked out an agreement where you're going to plead guilty on 2 of the thefts, and they're going to dismiss the criminal mischief.
Yes, sir.
Is this how you understand it?
Yes, sir.
You give up a lot of rights by entering this agreement. You give up the right to a trial. right to compel witnesses to testify on behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization under federal law. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, you cannot undo this. You also need to understand, Mr. Helms, that both of these are enhanceable cases, meaning that you're now going to end up with 2 thefts on your record. You pick up a third, what happens? To what? Yeah, years instead of days. And I'm telling you, you go pack of smokes, a beer, you're looking at some serious time. You understand? You know, if you ever need anything, just come back here. We have resources for you. All you got to do is walk through the door, come up to me. We'll talk to you for you. We can find you whatever you need. There's no excuse. So, how do you plead to the theft cases? Guilty or not guilty?
I'm guilty.
On both of those are Class B, so you're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. You've worked out a deal or a plea bargain that they're going to offer you 30 days on both of the cases. They're going to give you 58 days credit on one, well, we're going to give you 56 and then 58 days credit. So it looks like we're done here. Just be careful, man. Come back. We can help you. All right. All right. Good luck, Mr. Holmes. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Kaufman. Mr. Kaufman, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with criminal mischief. You're also charged with assault, bodily injury. You're facing up to a year in jail. On the assault, on both cases, you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You've worked out an agreement. They're offering you 90 days in jail with credit for the 81 and 83 days that you've done respectively. Is this how you understand the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, sir. Guilty time, sir.
This is what you want?
Yes, sir. Guilty time, sir.
You need to understand that these charges will go on your record, Mr. Kaufman. They're going to be there for the rest of your life. From now on, you're facing a minimum of 90 days in jail for cases that you pick up here. Do you understand?
Okay.
Do you still want to do this?
Yes, sir.
You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers, right to be arraigned, charged right to open court. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you accept these agreements, you can never come back and challenge this. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
It looks like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, but he has 4 open cases?
The 4 cases here, Your Honor. We're dismissing 2 of the criminal trespasses.
Right, so it looks, you've got 2 criminal trespasses, you've got the assault and the mischief. That's how you understand it. They're going to dismiss 2 of them, right?
Sir.
What was the criminal mischief? What was that broken?
So with the criminal mischief, he broke through the sliding glass door at ATV.
All right, Mr. Kaufman, how do you plead to the offenses? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
I'll find you guilty, send you to the agreements. Good luck to you, sir. All right, so it looks like you were charged with assault of a family member. You were facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine.
It has 132 days credit, but on my system shows 44 days credit.
So you're
For me, it's showing 44 days credit, and the credit is 150. What's the issue with it, Your Honor?
So you put 132 days credit, but he really has 44 days. Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, it's as long as he's got sufficient credit, that's the.
He does, Your Honor.
Yeah. All right, so Mr. Cotton, you've worked out an agreement. They're offering you 44 days in jail, credit for the 44 days that you've already done. You need to understand that this is now going to reflect as a conviction on your record. But the most important thing that you need to understand is that this now carries an affirmative finding of family violence. What that means is that if you ever pick up a case like this again, you will be charged with a 3rd-degree felony, looking at a minimum of 2 years in prison, a maximum of 10 years in prison. Do you understand? You can also never own a gun or ammunition as a result of this plea as well. You understand that? You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, it will go on your record and you can never take it off. You still want to do this? How do you plead to the offense of assault of a family member? I'll find you guilty, send you to agreements. Just remember, man, the affirmative finding is gonna chase you forever. You understand? All right. Good luck, Mr. Cotton. Thank you. Hey.
Morning. We're closing on Terrence Wilburn.
Okay.
We wanted to discuss his bond conditions. So currently right now he is looking for work, so he is trying to get employed. He doesn't have any bond conditions right now, and
he doesn't have bond conditions?
His parents right now.
Okay.
And he's currently trying to find work right now, so he eventually will get employed to, start working.
What would you like?
We would like to keep it at no conditions on his bond so that he can move freely to get.
Did he just bond out?
No, he did not.
So he's got a terroristic threat. He's on bond for a robbery and an impeding of breath. Is the terroristic threat related to any of the CWs in this case?
No.
Okay.
Don't believe so, Judge. No, they're not. They're different complainants. I would just ask that he doesn't have, that there's no contact with the apartment unit or with the complainant in this case, and those would just be state's requests.
Yeah, we don't want him to have obvious contact with the complaining witness in this case and not to go anywhere near their live or where they work, and then no weapons, and as long as he can abide by those, we're happy.
If his place of residence is in that apartment complex.
Are you sure that it is?
He's currently staying
Well, it's against a Who is the complaining witness in this?
Name?
No, I don't need a name. I need relation and things of this nature.
The defendant's child's mother. So the baby mama.
Okay. Okay, I don't want him to have contact with these people at all. I mean, that's like a really volatile.
You're right. As long as he's still able to live there, as long as he doesn't make contact.
He's not to go to the leasing office.
Okay.
You know, someone else is going to have to transact business, but I don't want him to have contact. Hey, so Mr. Rizzo, can you reach out to them and say, hey, look, this is what's going to happen. We've ordered him not to go back to the leasing office. We've ordered him not to have contact with this complaining witness, not to be in possession of weapons. As long as he can abide, then we're good. Otherwise, and that's it. We're just trying to keep trouble away. You know, we don't want them to run into each other, bad blood come up, and then it just goes.
He said no weapons, Judge?
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
He's shouldn't have it regardless because the case is upstairs anyway. So
And Alex just
we
stepped
need him
out.
to sign the conditions though.
Okay.
So he's here. So don't worry about it. Mr. Wilburn, come up. Go around. Good morning, sir. I want you to understand that I'm going to do everything in my power to protect my community at all costs. Do you understand? You're on bond for 3 very serious cases. And I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond, number 1, not to be in possession of any weapons. Number 2, not to have contact with a complaining witness in this case. And number 3, not to go where she lives or where she works. So if she's working at the leasing office, don't go there. Do you understand? If I get wind that there are any issues whatsoever, it's not going to go well between you and I. Do you understand? All I'm asking is I don't want any more issues. I don't want you to pick up a new case. And the last thing I want you to do is accidentally bump into her somehow, some way. Don't. If you know that she is at one part and you're at it, just go the complete opposite way. Life's too short to sit in a 6x9 for the next 6 months. Do you understand? Okay. All right. We're good. Don't leave until you sign our bond conditions. Then after that, you're free to go. Okay. Oh, one more thing. Stay in contact. You've got great lawyers. Stay in contact with them. If they tell me they can't get a hold of you because you're ducking and dodging, I'm going to revoke your bond. Do you understand? Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor.
How are you?
I'm doing good, fine, sir.
Is this what you want to do, Mr. Addison?
Yes, sir.
You picked up 2 more cases. You picked up a theft. You picked up a criminal trespass. You worked out an agreement. They're going to dismiss the trespass. You're pleading guilty to the theft case.
Yes, sir.
What happens if you pick up another theft case?
I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Right. The difference between upstairs and felony land versus down here, you're looking at years instead of days. If you want something, if you need something, come back. We can give you resources. But just because you're on the street doesn't give you the right. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Get Lori's number. She can help you in any way you need it. She can find you resources, house, food, no car, but transportation. Really.
Yes, sir.
There's no excuse.
Mm.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. So once you accept this agreement, you can never change this or undo this. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
One more thing, Mr. Addison, you know, in all the times you have, and I have gotten to know each other, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you've never come back to court. Come back. Good things happen when you come to court. Understand? And how do you plead to the theft? Guilty or not guilty? I'll follow the agreement. I'm going to send you to it. One more thing is it true that you had the prior theft here in April of this year?
Yes.
Okay, so true to the first enhancement, abandon the second one, please. All right, Mr. Addison, come back. Come back. I mean,
Only if you get in trouble.
If you get
Only if you get in trouble.
right, don't get in trouble. I mean, don't come back. Right.
That was funny, Judge.
I think he knows what I meant. Tell me, what do you got?
My client, Manning, is looking at.
Are you ready? Manning, coming up. Good morning, Mr. Manning. Sir, you're charged with assault, causing bodily injury. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You guys have worked out an agreement. They're offering you 6 days in jail, credit for the 2 days that you've done. This is going to now reflect as a conviction on your record. After today, is this what you want to do? You're pleading guilty to this offense. You need to understand from now on, you're facing a minimum of 90 days in jail for any new misdemeanors that you pick up like this. You understand? If I had one strand of hair every time someone told me that, God, I'd look like Jimi Hendrix, I tell you. I would look, man, I'd be a rock star. Just don't. Self-control. That's why everybody's in there. No self-control. The agreement you worked out is 6 days in jail, credit for 2. You give up a lot of rights by entering into this agreement, Mr. Manning. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen or a possible immigration consequence, you can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, there's no one doing this. Is this what you want to do? How do you plead to the officer? Guilty. All right. I'll find you guilty. Send it to the agreement. Careful, man. Really. Be careful. Self-control. All right. Thank you. I'll wait. All right. Thank you, Ms. Cartwright.